What's the most attractive SFW thing you've ever seen somebody do? I work in retail and normally customers are fairly unpleasant or uninterested in me when talking. I had this one girl come in that needed help and was happy and enthusiastic about being helped and actually paid attention to what I was saying like I knew what I was talking about. The thing that got me though is she did this little hip wiggle thing when she was thinking or debating two items in her head. I don't know if it was her treating me like a human being leading up to that or not, but that single action has not left my memory in the months after that interaction. I don't know if it was her treating me like a human being. This is pretty sad. My 7-year-old brother is the only boy in my family, and he's constantly trying to find someone to fill that big brother role for him. So, most attractive thing, when I brought my boyfriend home and he spent 40 minutes playing video games with my brother, and then playing games with him, listening to him tell inane stories, letting my brother jump all over him and wrestling him back, just watching my give my only brother that attention, it made my heart melt. I got to work with a 20-year-old female welder on a particular 2-person job. The way she wore her cap turned backwards and tied the top half of her overalls around her waist when we were not welding, the way she handled heavy materials and the precision and skill of her workmanship, my god. When a girl gets on her toes to grab something out of her reach, something about the way a girl's body looks during this small action gets my mind running. Especially if her calves are visible. Sometimes I'll just stare at my wife struggling to get something from the top shelf of our cabinets for a whole minute. I never help until she asks. Hence, heels. Being witty and saying something hilarious that catches me off guard and makes me laugh hysterically. My husband and I banter back and forth, and I would say that we are pretty witty, but both of us have said how amazing it is that we are able to make the other one bust up laughing. One time a girl I knew just stroked my face very gently. I felt very relaxed and comfortable, and I almost always feel nervous and uptight, so if you can relax me, that's super attractive. She's just keeping you calm so you don't see the blade. It ruins the meat, honestly, if the victim sees the blade. Girl I like at work pulled off a rubber glove with her teeth. Not sure why, but swing. Nothing is more unattractive than improper lab safety. 2/10 would not bang. My girlfriend listening to music. She has such a strong emotional reaction and is visibly happy when she heard something she likes. That passion is beautiful. As I get older I'm starting to realize that passion is my favorite trait in a person. It's like purest form of confidence, if that makes sense. When you're passionate about something you can't hide it. I don't know why, but whenever my exes would just latch onto me from behind was just the best feeling. It happened in different ways too. Example, I'm studying and she'd hug me from behind and rest her chin on my shoulder and watch me. Same when I'm reading, but resting on my head instead. Or when I'm cooking dinner for us and she'd come in and wrap her arms around me, squeeze tightly and then ask in her high-pitched smooth voice, watch her cooking, followed up by a smile. Small things. Till combed hair, showing my back muscles with my sleeves rolled up, while reading on a train and biting my lower lip will get me girls. Rules 1 and 2 still apply. In her spare time, my wife is really into arts and crafts. I love watching her draw, design or sew something. She's especially good at designing t-shirts and bags. She knitted me a scarf last winter and I can't wait to wear it again. She's so confident when doing it, whereas I wouldn't know where to start. Ah, such a cute response. When women stretch and emit that high-pitched, female equivalent of a grunt, a squeak if you will, it's one of those moments where their femininity is just perfect and is a major turn on. My calls them my baby dinosaur noises. I always make that squeak when I'm yawning and he loves it, lol. There's this one girl I know that has a really adorable and genuine laugh. It feels so real compared to other people because she just loses control of her voice and lets out the most adorable little squeal UNF. When guys are reading and are really fixated on their book, I love the calmness that surrounds them even when in a busy environment. And when they do small movements like turning the page, looking up, or looking at the time. So incredibly attractive. Guys being useful and lifting heavy crap that I am useless with. That slight grunt from the strain. The shirt coming up a little bit, the lip bite and concentration. Flexing muscles. I gotta go. Do a thing. I can assure you my pale, flabby frame and hairy gut would not make this pleasant accompanied by my thick West Country accent muttering gorblimey. I should imagine it will put you off men for life. I'm a sucker for a hot guy eating or making delicious food. Hot guy eating pizza. Hot guy making mashed potatoes, etc. It's something I just want to be in the middle of. Girl of my dreams and I taking a road trip back from an amusement park. She's depressed a lot, so I try to do everything to make her happy. Seeing her take my phone, play all these old country songs from her childhood in my car, singing very loudly, laughing like crazy, all with the biggest, most beautiful smile I have ever seen. It made me so happy to see her so happy. Good memories. My girlfriend isn't depressed, but this made me think exactly of her. Thanks for brightening my day. Full body stretching. I can vividly remember a girl sat next to me in a lecture hall during a break start stretching. The way she slowly and steadily sprawled out, her head tilting to one side, her arms reaching further and further as she kind of moaned from the release. I died. Capital F. When I was a kid on a road trip with my family, I saw the girl with her foot resting out the window of her car. I never saw her face, but something about that moment made me think, that is the kind of woman I want. Now every time I see my wife resting her foot out the window with the dashboard of the car, I flip back to moment in my head and smile. I always thought it was hot too. Come to find out that if the airbag deploys and her foot is on the dash, her knee will likely go through her skull. If her foot is out the window and there's a collision, she's likely to lose it. Now I just worry for their safety. When guys roll up sleeves about halfway to elbows and run a hand through their hair while studying. I think it might be the concentration. Anyway, it's super hot. Don't mind me, just a college student here taking notes. I was helping my friend Joey clean her apartment one day. I was vacuuming the living room and she was washing dishes. When I switched the vacuum off, I could hear her humming. She was also doing this little dance while she cleaned. This was the most attractive thing I've ever witnessed. Then she noticed the vacuum wasn't on and turned her head to look back at me. Framed by the sunlight streaming through the window, her long, fiery red hair was the most radiant I've ever seen it. She looked at my awestruck face as my body crawled with butterflies. She smiled, let out a little giggle, and went back to what she was doing. Humming, dancing, and just enjoying the mundane chores of life. When I say the most attractive thing, I'm not saying in the sense I wanted to bend her over and bang her brains out. It was more of a holy crap. If I got to see this every day of the rest of my life, I would die a happy man crossed with I don't know what true love feels like, but I'm pretty sure this is a kind of attraction. Can't find a good out gif of it. We were on our way to a call, driving lights and sirens, 911 EMTs, and she was driving with one hand and should have been controlling the siren with the other. But when she let her hair down, swooshed it back and forth, then ran her fingers through it, my heart melted. I know, gay right, and I instantly tried to pitch a tent in my pants. Good God, she's perfection. The attractiveness was a mix of badassery driving a 5-ton ambulance 70 miles an hour with one hand, intelligence, she's a paramedic, we save lives. Who doesn't love a girl who can do that? And physical sexiness. The one that got away, gentlemen. The one that got away. I think you made me fall in love. When a girl wearing a sports bra making a ponytail, with arms lifted and neck exposed, it's hard to consciously take my eyes off that view. Coworker stocking shelves. She was really short. Something about watching her on her tippy toes sliding stuff into the perfect position. I don't really understand it myself, but every time I got a direct line of sight on her, I'd just stop and stare. Frick the consequences. She was the boss's niece or something, a redhead, and she was a political science major, and she was at the time engaged to some really hideous guy who looked quite familiar to Peter from Family Guy. I worked there for a year and a half. A year longer than I should have really, just because of her. I kept wanting to ask her out, but the truth is, I don't think she would have said yes. That, and I'm not a poacher. I knew she was in a committed relationship, and what kind of person would that make me? Anyway, that was 3 years ago, and the strange thing is, I still think about her. I thought about trying to Google her, but I don't know her last name. and the store I used to work at closed down. So I guess she'll just forever be a pleasant memory. I hope she's doing well. I was working an early morning at a previous job, and the first person I saw that day was a young lady I had taken a liking to. She comes out of the elevator, beam of sunlight shining right at her. She's got a vibrant blue dress on with a white belt and white shoes, and she's carrying a golden Bible. My jaw dang near dropped. I'm not even religious by any means. Just the fact that she looked like the epitome of purity and being courageous, coming out with our flag's colors, had me tripping up on my words. People picking me up. I don't weigh much, so they do it all the time. So fun. Very, very attractive. Also, people biting their lower lip. I don't know why I find it so attractive, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that does. Sometimes I'll do the Simba Rafiki pose from The Lion King to my girlfriend while singing Nansinkanama Bajathi Baba. Needless to say, I think her facial expression is less like Nala and more like the grumpy cat. My ex-girlfriend used to walk upstairs in such a ludicrously sexy way. Don't think she was doing it intentionally, but she used to sort of wiggle her ass in a way that drove me nuts. Sweet Christ, it was a sight to behold. I miss it, and her, for many other reasons, daily. When a guy is focusing on a task, whatever it is, if they are concentrating and oblivious to anything else except the task, so dang hot. My girlfriend covers her mouth with her hand when she laughs. Not like presses her hand over her mouth, but more that she places it in front of her mouth so people can't see her wide open mouth. But it also means that her smile peeks through when she's laughing. Don't ask me why, but when she laughs, she's the most beautiful thing in the world for me. It's simple really. Wear your glasses. There is just something about a woman that wears her glasses as if it isn't anything to worry about. Contacts just seem like going the hard way just for self-consciousness. Last Father's Day, my wife brought me a beer in a frosted mug, then went outside to mow the lawn. If I wasn't already married to her, I would have asked her to marry me. I don't think I would have enjoyed the beer, honestly. I would have been too busy watching my wife cut the grass, waiting for her to get back in the house smelling like outside and work. I don't know if there is a good transition into the bedroom, but that's where I would have wanted to go the moment she handed me the chilled mug and said she was going to mow the lawn. Actually having a sense of humor. I've only had one girlfriend that could genuinely make me bust a gut laughing, and it was fantastic. It's so attractive if you can make me laugh. When a girl stretches and her shirt lifts up, just exposing a little bit of skin around the midriff. Is there a subreddit for this? When a girl I like gets scared or someone comes up behind her and grabs her sides, she always lets out a little, for lack of a better word, yelp and turns around and giggles. Something about it makes me smile and laugh. God, I love her. My so finally got a manual labor job. He prefers it, and I thoroughly enjoy even the thought of him lifting logs and cutting down trees. It's just so manly and mmmmm. My wife stretching when she wakes up is crazy sexy. She reaches both hands towards the ceiling, arches her back, sticks her butt out just a little and lets out a faint sigh. Gets me every time. My so with babies. He's a big guy who normally has a serious look. He has the beard and goowages and tattoos so he can be intimidating looking, but babies and little kids love him. He always plays little peekaboo games and smiles and waves back to them. The guy I just started seeing is a pianist. With his band he plays more upbeat funk with some rap. But the other night after he played a classical song for me, they way nostrils kind of flared. His fingers moved so beautifully, and I could see him getting lost in the sound. Literally brought tears to my eyes. We fricked shortly after and I had to best 3 orgasms in a row. A SWAT guy came into my work the other day to get carry out, full gear. There's something about a man in that sort of get up, knowing he's well trained and disciplined. Yum. Most of my dating life has been an endless debate of does she like me but is trying to convince herself she doesn't, or does she not like me but trying to convince herself she does. So I filled away the only 2 memories I have that had me convinced beyond a doubt that she liked me. First, coming into the room, fresh out of the shower, and she sucked in a quick gaspy breath as I shook my wet hair. The same reaction I have when she walked into the room, and I'm instantly reminded of my inability to resist her. Only time I've felt sexually desired, and not just in that general anyone would do way. Second, after a weekend-long first date, I asked if she wanted to drive. She rarely needs to drive anywhere and no one lets her drive their car. Gave her the keys and whispered something sweet in her ear with a kiss on the cheek. On my way around to the passenger side, she had an ear-to-ear grin and had to physically spin in place, right then and there, to vent the rush of giddiness. One of the most adorable moments of my life. Vent the rush of giddiness is phenomenal phrasing. When my husband is playing with a baby or a small animal, that combination of strength and gentleness is so mind-blowingly hot. When a girl drives stick shift, it immediately eliminates the stereotype of women being poor drivers. I just generally respect drivers who drive manual anyways. I can't pin it down to one thing. As a straight guy that is currently super deeply in love, I'd say playing with their hair, playing my hair, smiling, just genuinely and wholeheartedly smiling. Especially when it was from something I did, or that smile she makes when I make a stupid joke. Love it. This is maybe number 1. When she wants my help with something. When she comes to greet me or whatever and brushes my lower back with a little hey. When we're walking through the woods. Just watching her. A girl that can show the wilderness whose boss is hot as heck. When she sleeps and her head drops back and her mouth falls open. Just super cute. Goddamn, I love her. When my so rolls over in the bed, comes over to cuddle, hug up to me, kisses me and says you are the best boyfriend. Girl, are you trying to give me premature ventricular contractions? The other day, my GF was eating artichoke hearts with melted butter and thoroughly enjoying it. It was funny watching her, with her perfect posture, sitting at my high table and just smacking away. IDKY, I thought it was so adorable, but sometimes I think of it and it makes me happy. There's something about a brunette woman driving a manual transmission vehicle. That moment when they release the wheel to shift gears. HMGHHH. Yes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.